Hi, McKenna.
Hi.
How are you, love?
I'm good.
Good. I miss seeing you all the time. I'm so glad you're here today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this night I was sleeping and then I said, and I was going down the stairs and I said, Mom, and my mom was not in here.
Oh, I see. Good morning, Kim.
Good morning.
Morning, Miss Renee.
Good morning.
It's Miss Renee.
Say hi.
Hi.
Hi, McKenna. How are you doing? Say, how are you, Miss Renee?
Decided to get you something to eat. I started for a little snack. What if you eat an apple right now, and then we'll have pancakes after? Well, honey, I can't cook right now. We have our friends here. Look, it's Miss Renee and our friend McKenna, who was in the car the other day. We are suddenly hungry now that it's time for a meeting. All right, we're gonna wait a couple minutes.
I eat all the snacks for a long time.
Really? Do you eat a lot, McKenna?
I eat a lot of snacks.
Yeah, you're silly.
All my toys came back here. I didn't know they were here.
You didn't?
No, I do saw them.
Oh.
My dad got me my toys by here, and I live here.
You live here? Is this your new house?
Yes, it is.
So lovely.
Oh, you did move.
This is
Yeah.
my house.
We're in her house, and she got all her toys out of storage.
Oh, good.
That's what she's
Congratulations.
talking about. Thank you.
Hi, Emmy.
My dad get all my toys out. It didn't hurt my
Oh,
ankle.
Jack is here too. Good morning, Jack. Good morning. Well, hello there, Princess Kinsley.
Listen, hi, Princess Kim. Say hi.
Are we ready?
Yes.
All right. How are you guys this morning? Good. Did you know that today is a special day?
Yeah.
I'm going to put this on here so you can see me. All right. Hi, guys. Did you know today's a special day?
Yeah, it's Easter, and we cut our eggs.
That is right. It is Easter on Sunday. Today is a day called Good Friday. And so I actually have something really special with eggs to teach you guys a little bit about Easter. Okay. I have something called resurrection eggs, and I just realized I left my book inside, which I need to teach you about resurrection eggs.
I have eggs. I'm boiling the eggs now.
You're boiling the eggs now? Awesome.
Yeah, for Easter.
That's awesome, Emmy. Well, I don't have boiled eggs. I have some plastic eggs. And with these eggs, I'm going to tell you guys a story about something called resurrection. You have
Wait,
something
I'm
to
coming back.
Okay.
How about I sing now?
How about I'm going to turn you guys off so we can't hear you for a minute, okay?
Let's show
Okay.
them something.
Not right now.
Oh.
Sorry, Kennedy is so excited that we're at home to show you guys things, but we're not showing you guys our house today.
No,
All right,
I'm
so
just gonna show them.
you have to leave the room if you're going to keep interrupting. All right, so we're going to talk about some resurrection eggs. And resurrection is a really big word that means something coming back to life. Now, do you guys know a person who came back to life after they died?
Who? What? That is
Easter. And that is why we celebrate Easter. So I'm gonna tell you guys a little story about that using these eggs, and I'm gonna turn you all. Actually, I'll leave you guys on, okay? So let me get my little book ready so I do the story in order. So, yes, Emmy.
Soon when I grow up, I'm gonna die already.
Yeah. Everybody's going to someday, but not for a really, really long time. You don't have to worry about that, okay? Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys a story about Jesus, all right, with these eggs. So a few days ago, we had a special day at church called Palm Sunday. Did anybody see the pictures of the donkeys that I put for your moms and dads to see?
Yeah.
We had donkeys at church because a long time ago in the Bible, Jesus went to a special place and he rode on a donkey. And everybody was so excited to see him because they knew that Jesus was a king. Even though he came on a donkey, it's pretty silly for a king to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I want
no,
to see that.
you can play with them later. Okay? All right. That was on a Sunday. And a few days later, Jesus got his friends together. He had 12 best friends, and they're called the disciples. He got all of them together to tell them that it was time for him to do what God wanted him to do. And what God wanted was for Jesus to save all of us. All right? And in order to do that, Jesus had to die. And he got his friends together to say that it was going to happen and that one of his best friends was going to be the person who told the soldiers to take Jesus away. And they all said, we would never do that. But there was one guy named Judas who really wanted some what? What is this?
Money.
Money. And so he said to the soldiers, I will give you Jesus to take him to jail if you give me some money. And so they did. Then, I forgot to turn my page. On a Thursday, that was yesterday, Thursday, Jesus got his friends together for a little goodbye party. Okay, I'm forgetting to show you my eggs. Let me move up a little. All right, and they had what's now called the Last Supper. Sometimes you see it at church. They have bread and some juice or some wine. So Jesus gave them all some bread and some wine, and he poured it into a little cup just like this. And he said, every time you eat this special dinner, remember me. Okay, and the friends were like, Jesus, what are you talking about? And he's like, just trust me. This is the last time we're going to have dinner together. So eat your bread, drink your juice or your wine for grown-ups, and remember me. All right, and then after that special dinner, Jesus went to a special garden called Gethsemane. Can you say that? It's a big word, Gethsemane. And he went to this beautiful garden. In fact, I even have a picture of it. He went to this beautiful garden so he could pray to God. And he said, God, I really don't want to do this. I'm a little bit scared. Can you help me feel better? And so this egg has some hands for us to remember how Jesus prayed to God and said, God, if this is what you really want, I'll do it, even though I'm scared. All right. And then while they were at the garden, that friend who wanted the money, Judas, he came with some soldiers and he gave Jesus a kiss on the cheek to say goodbye. And then the soldiers took Jesus away. And this one's a really sad egg. The soldiers didn't like Jesus. So they took this. This is called a whip. And they hurt him with it. Okay? And that's a really sad part of our story is that the people didn't like Jesus very much. So they hurt him. They hurt him a lot. And Jesus had another best friend. This friend's name is Peter. And Peter said, Jesus, I love you. I'll help you out any way you can. And Jesus said, you know what, Peter? You're going to get scared. And before the morning comes, you're going to tell people you're not my friend. And he said, before the rooster crows, you're going to tell people that. And Peter said, no way, Jesus. But you know what? Jesus was right. Peter was so scared of the soldiers and he didn't want to get hurt that he told everybody that Jesus wasn't his friend. That's really sad, isn't it? We should always tell people about our friends, right?
Yeah, but he didn't want to get hurt or die.
All right, so then
They got so fast.
Yeah? The soldiers took Jesus.
In the back of the radio.
Decided that they didn't want Jesus to be alive anymore. They wanted to have him die because they thought that Jesus was a bad guy. And so they decided that they wanted to embarrass him. And one of the things they did is they said, if you think you're a king, Jesus, here is your crown. And it's kind of hard to see. Can you tell what's on this crown?
Thorns.
Thorns, like from roses. Have you ever touched a rose bush and gotten poked? Like, ouch! They put this crown on his head with thorns to poke him and to make him, they tried to make Jesus feel bad. Then, does anybody know how Jesus died? Do you know what he was on when they? What, Kennedy?
A cross.
A cross. A cross just like this. And do you know how they get somebody to stay on a cross?
Nails.
They have to use nails on their hands and on their feet. And you know, like a hammer and nails, they hammered Jesus on that cross to hurt him and to make him feel bad about being Jesus and about being the Son of God. So this is a cross that's made out of real nails to remind us. Now, let's see what happens next. What do you think happened on that cross? Do you know? You've heard us talk about it at chapel before. Did Jesus die?
Yes.
Yes, he did. That's right, McKenna. That's right. And just to make sure,
I said that.
well, I could see McKenna saying it too. Just to make sure he was dead, they took this. This is a spear, and they poked him with it to make sure he was dead.
Hey,
Probably would hurt,
this
wouldn't it?
is a heart attack.
It is a cone. You're right. All right, I've got 3 more parts of our story. So Jesus had another friend. This friend was named Joseph of Arimathea, and Joseph had a special place called a tomb. It looked kind of like a cave, and that's where they decided they wanted to put Jesus. But one of the things that they did to people like Jesus who were Jewish when they died was they wrapped them up in a special linen, and they put some really smelly, beautiful perfumes on it to make them smell good before they went to heaven to be with God. So this egg
That one doesn't smell
has
good.
our linen in it. That's right. This egg does not have perfume. And then they put Jesus in this tomb. It looks kind of like a cave, right? Do you see it? And in order to close up that cave, what do you think they put in front of the door?
A rock.
Anybody else? What do you think they put in front of the door?
A rock. A rock.
A rock, just like this. A big rock that blocked the door. And do you think people were happy or sad that Jesus was dead?
Bad.
They were definitely sad.
But the bad guys were
And then
happy.
even God was sad because Jesus is God's son. And so God started crying and a big earthquake happened. And when that earthquake happened, God sent some angels down. And the angels opened up that tomb. Tomb is a big word for like a cave for somebody who died. They opened up that tomb. And then some of Jesus' friends, that's right. Some of Jesus' friends went to the tomb after he died, but they saw this angel. And do you know what the angel said to those people? This is our last egg to tell our story. The angel said, "What are you doing here? Jesus isn't here. Look inside." Jesus isn't here. Jesus came back to life. They said, "Christ is risen." Christ is Jesus' name. And they said, "He is alive. He's not here. Go tell everybody that God's son came and he died and he came back to life to save all of us." And that, my friends, is the story of Easter. And that is what Easter is all about. It's about how Jesus Christ came and he died and he came back to life to save all of us.
Bye.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? Pretty cool story. What do you guys think?
Good.
Good? You like it? Did you know that that's what Easter is all about? Yeah? Yeah, I'm so glad you know that. And I was so glad that you were here so I could tell you about it. And before we go today, is there anybody that wants to tell us anything special or share with us anything?
I want to say something special.
You always want to say something special. Does anybody have anything they want to say or do before we go?
I do preschool games and I did a good job, and in the end I said welcome, and I did all the activities, and I did my name with up and down.
Awesome. So McKenna said she's been doing the work that Miss Retta made for her to do at home. Have you guys been doing your work that we've made for you? We had all kinds of activities and special things. All right, boys and girls, we are going to go ahead and go.
I want to say something.
Oh, Kennedy wants to tell you guys one thing real quick. Go ahead.
Everything is special, even my dogs, Penny and Jackson.
All right. I love you guys very, very much, and I wish you all a very happy Easter with your families.
And my
Okay?
dog was ripping my best one when he was
All right.
Bye.
Have a great day, my friends. See you on
Bye.
Monday.
Bye. Bye. Bye.